Hotspurs, welcome back. Talking Tottenham every week, no better place to be sat. If it's a win, lose, draw, we'll be here for a chat. Best believe we tackle topics like Romero in the back. Young Min Son, what can go wrong when he's on form? It's a dream come true, so sit back, relax.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Hollie Hotspurs Live. Actually, in fact, the last one of the season. It's been a crazy ride this year, but we've finally done it. And with me to dissect, obviously, the last game. So first of all, Christina, how are you, my friend? It's great to have you on the show.
Oh, good, thank you. Very buzzing from yesterday. I'm quite happy with all the results. I say all of them because you know what I mean. So yeah, happy to be on this as well for the last pod of the season. Excited for it.
It should be good. Like I say, I'm very much happy to get the Mondays back again, especially where the hot weather's coming. Sitting in a fat in front of your PC is not the place you want to be. But it's great to have you on, Christina. Also joined by the amazing Billie. Billie, how are you?
I'm very good. It's a bit emotional. Emerson Royal last dance yesterday. So that's an emotional day for me. But yeah, all good.
It's good to have you, Billie. I'm sure we're... from the amazing Ross. Ross, how are you?
I'm doing great. Good to be on. Always an honor.
Amazing, good stuff. And like I say, welcome to everybody that's joining in. Make sure you get your comments in about the last game of the season. I'm going to do my little plug, get it out of the way. Make sure you go check out Alloy Collectors and all their new kits. Obviously, the new kits are coming out soon, so there will be new ones. So make sure you go get and collect them. There's links in the description below. But hey, let's crack on with it because obviously, Christina, it was a 3-0 win. It was a great way to sign off the end of the season. What was your kind of overall thoughts on the game?
I thought it was a really good performance. Just a shame that we didn't actually score more goals because I feel like there was a lot of opportunities there. And it's quite a shame now that the season is actually ended because I thought we were on a roll with that game. So who knows what could have happened in the next. But I was very happy to see, with, for example, like Madison, it's good to see him playing well again. I thought he did really good yesterday. Another one was Dragusin, if that's the way that you pronounce it. I think he's a really good player, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else he can do next season. So I think overall it was a nice end. I'm happy to say that we are in Europa League. I felt like that is more of a better choice for us than Champions League. I don't think we are ready for it. I don't think the team is quite there yet. But with Europa, I think we've got a good chance with that, especially now with the rules that have changed for it. So yeah, overall, I'm really happy with how it ended. So yeah.
And that's the thing. I think obviously we wanted to have a few more goals, but it was nice just to walk away and actually feel like we're actually playing like a team again. Because Billie, in the last couple of weeks, maybe not so much City, because I think we played well against City, but we lost that kind of flair. And I think it was because Ange kind of tweaked it a little bit, didn't he, in the last 2 games. So what did you kind of make of the Sheffield game and maybe prior that as well?
Yeah, I was interested to see Madison a bit wider and Cooley a bit more central. I think he's experimenting a little bit. And I think the big thing was obviously Mickey van der Ven at left back, who looked really good since that's happened. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens next season now, I think.
And I think that's the thing. Is like you said, for me, I got annoyed with the City game because we were finally seeing those tweaks that we should have maybe saw in a few games before. But yeah. Ross, in that game against Sheffield, like Billie's alluded to, we obviously saw Decky more central, and we saw Mickey van der Ven as well out on that kind of left-hand side. So for you, what did you kind of make of the Sheffield game and those tiny little bit of tweaks?
That's great. It's worked out well. I mean, and Mickey van der Ven, I can't say enough about that kid. I mean, he comes into the club. What was he here, a week before the first match? And then he just plugs right in, and he's just done great, whatever he's been asked to do. I mean, that goal he set up, I mean, he kept the ball in, slid that perfect ball right in there, and then Kulu with the finish. And yeah, Kulu's better in the middle. I've always thought that. You know, he's always better central because on the wing, he tends to cut inside. It's like they know what he's doing. He's a little more predictable out there, but he does have the ability in the finishing. And I just think he feels better there in the middle with he can just find the spots and get in there. It's he can pick and choose what he can do more. And so on the wing, he just has to go down and get it in. So I definitely think that suits him more being in the middle.
Right, and I'm going to stick with Decky because obviously he has had a lot of stick this season, Christina, and I kind of see it's a little bit warranted, but it's great to see that when you actually do shift him and play him to his strengths, which is through the middle, it seems to be a better confidence within him. And like we saw, obviously he scored 2 goals against Sheffield.
I feel like his performance this season has been a bit like Tottenham overall. You know, it's been a bit of a roller coaster up and down. But yeah, I completely agree. Yesterday it felt like he was just really comfortable in his position. And I felt we saw that as well when Madison was actually out injured, when he overtook his role. And I felt he did a really good job of that. So yeah, I feel like this is yesterday kind of, I'm hoping it will kind of open eyes for Ange now to see, where the improvements are and where we can improve, because we have got the players for it. It's just kind of figuring out and who needs backup as well, which I feel is really important. And yeah, I was really happy to see Kulu back because his season has been up and down a lot, and he has got a lot of sick as well. But yesterday it felt like the Kulu was back. He should have got a hat-trick, personally as well. I thought he did a really good job.
And I think the thing is as well, obviously for that first goal where Mickey there's a bit of interchange between Mickey who wins the ball back, then obviously you see Son and Madison and the ball falls through to Decky. But Billy, it was the fact that it was that instinct to turn and hit it. Whereas before, when he is on the wide, he thinks too much about cutting in and trying to have a shot. So for you, is it kind of, let's just stick him down the middle? Or do you think Ange will potentially be looking for someone else in the middle? What do you kind of stand with Decky this season?
I think he will stay in the middle. Yeah, he doesn't quite have qualities for an Ange winger. Like he doesn't have the pace to Johnson and Werner typically, and he likes to cut inside. But Ange sort of prefers wingers to sort of play a ball into the middle for a cutback. So it's not really Kulu's game. So I think he's much more suited to the middle. He's actually almost playing as a striker, so it wasn't interesting, which is not something we've seen before at Tottenham. It worked really well. So yeah, I think he will definitely stay in the middle, and I think he'll be a really good squad player for us this year.
Definitely. And I think that's the thing. It's about building because, like we say, that I don't want to say it was a free pass for Ange this year, but it was more like trying to find where these players can best suit. Because, Ross, obviously, we talk about the need for a striker. We're talking about Decky potentially filling that space. But for me, looking back at the stats, I think there was something weird, like mad on Twitter where someone said we've scored 4 more goals than we did last season. That's without Harry Kane. And I don't want to say imagine if we had Harry, but imagine if we had someone that was a prolific striker that could do the job in front of goal.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, look at that. We scored more goals with a front line that's been kind of in and out and kind of patchy and up and down in the performances. And it just goes to show what kind of system Ange has and that it does work. It does create those chances. And we just need somebody that's going to be there in the middle, that striker, number 9 poacher in there that's going to finish those chances that come in the box. And so, yeah, we do. We definitely need a true, pure number 9. Decky, yeah, he can play there, but that's not the solution. We need to have that guy because, as you say, you can imagine if we had somebody in there who was consistently finishing all those chances. I mean, we'd have had a lot more goals and probably be more higher up in the table.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely, and I think as well. Obviously, yesterday it was a little bit flat for the first 15, and then out of nowhere, Christina, we saw. I think Johnson had a chance. I think we had Madison had a chance. And obviously Pedro Porro managed to get on the goal sheet as well. I mean, what have you made of him? He's just been incredible, hasn't he?
Oh, he's blossomed this season because the previous one, a lot of people were a bit unsure about him, but I really think he has been incredible. He's been really important for us this season. And my God, the goals that he has scored this season have been phenomenal, even including, the one in the FA Cup. Absolutely, he's a special player, and again, I'm looking forward to seeing what else he can now do next season. So it's going to be really good to see with our transfer window, of course, as well, because I just feel when we get better players coming in, it will help improve other players as well. Like if we get a strong number 9, that's what I think that we need to go for this summer transfer window. If we get a decent number 9, we can make other players look even more decent. For someone that can be able to know their surroundings with the ball, if they know exactly, like with assists, they know where to hit it. Because, for example, like Werner, I mean, he's missed a hell of a lot of chances. But if we had a decent number 9, I feel he could have got a lot more assists, and that would have made him look a lot better. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting overall for the whole team, and to see where Ange is going to take us to the next level.
No, and I think that's the thing. I think we just need to fully build on this drop because we've got a good crop of players. It's just add in those next couple of ones. And obviously, Billy, I know that you mentioned already about your boy Emerson. But for you, do you think it's the right time for him to move on, especially when you've got the likes of Pedro Porro doing what he's doing in that position?
I would never say it's the right time for him to leave. I do think it would be best for all parties for him to go this way because he's just not really going to get in. He can't really play inverted that well. And I think he's linked with Bayern Munich today, which is crazy to me, but we seem to buy all of our ex-players at the moment. So yeah.
No, I'm with you. I think that's the thing. It's like that. We've made that connection now, and it's going to stick for a little while. I mean, I'm here for it. But I'm going to stick with you, Billy, because obviously throughout this whole podcast, this whole year, and I know we touched on him a little bit, and that is Mickey van der Ven, because I keep calling him Daddy Longlegs, but it's just phenomenal how he can play in the middle, that you can stick him out on the wing when Adogie's not there. It's like, what do you kind of see happening going on into next season, because we know he's got that strong partnership with Romero, but when Dragusin came in and Romero were playing together, it just adds another kind of, I don't want to say headache, but another string to our kind of bow, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think we might see it a bit more in the Europa League and stuff, but I think in the games that really matters, I just think he'll play centre back because he's one of the best centre backs in the world, and I think even the Dragusin has been pretty good. It's detrimental overall to not play him centre back because he's an incredible centre back. But I think maybe in Europa we'll see a bit more experimentation, which obviously we haven't been able to do this season because we haven't been in Europe. So I think it's really, really good that Dragusin had 2 games to finish on, because he probably, if he hadn't started those 2 games, he probably would have been going into pre-season thinking he made the wrong choice or something like that. So yeah, I think we'll definitely see it a little bit next season, but I think he'll mainly be a centre back still, just because he's so good there. And why would you change it?
No, and you're right. And I think that's the thing. I think it's great that we've got these options again. But like you said, I think he does play his best football in the middle. Saying that, though, he does like to score a goal at the top. So who knows?
Yeah, he scored again, didn't
he? He's so good, man. And I bang on about him all the time, but I do bloody love him. And obviously, we managed to get a Pedro Porro goal. We obviously then managed to get another Decky goal. And I think for me as well, it was Madison getting that kind of assist, Ross, where we've spoken about Madison in recent weeks, where he's not really performing to the level that we all know he can since his injury. And I think he's been trying too hard trying to score a goal. And it was quite nice for him to assist of what we've kind of got him to kind of do in this squad.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was glad to see that, because that's the thing. If you're not scoring, doing your main things, you do other things. With Madison, I'm kind of wondering if he's got like a nagging injury or something that may be there, because that's what it kind of seems like sometimes players, when they are like that, maybe they've got some other injuries or other things that are going on that are kind of taken away from that. Because, beginning of the season, yeah, I mean, he was our locksmith, man. And he was opening things up. I mean, he was filling the Harry Kane role, scoring, setting people up like that. And but no, it was good to see him do that. Get that ball, realize that Kulu had a better chance, and then just slide it over there and letting him finish it. That's important. And I think he knows, and I think he's going to put in the work, and I think he'll come back next season and be what we think he's going to be.
I think that's the thing, because obviously, like you said, he was our locksmith at the start of the season. That's what we bought him to do. And it's quite nice that he's finished on a high to set, obviously, that goal up for Decky. But obviously, I want to move a little bit away. And Christina, come to you about, obviously, Ange's kind of substitutions. Because there's been a lot of criticism in recent weeks that he hasn't necessarily been playing the young boys. And for me, against Sheffield, I was kind of thinking I'd see him 30 or 15 minutes before the end of the whistle. But it was only about 10... Was it 5 to 10 minutes they managed to get?
Yeah, I mean, a huge shout to Mickey, because I think it's such an incredible achievement. I thought this as well. Where's the young boys? Because our under 21s at the moment as well are absolute. They smashed it completely. So it was really interesting to see him finally bring them on. I'm hoping that we're going to see a lot more of him in the next season. I'm hoping to see even more of our youngsters. I just think they've done an incredible job. And it's even the fans now have even got into the under 21s just to see like what's going on, because that's how good they have been now. But yeah, I was kind of hoping he was going to be on for a lot longer, like you said. I guess Andrew knows if they're going to be ready or not. I think it was a good game, especially if we're 3-0 up. He felt comfortable to bring them on. It's just games like that, because it would have been an important win for us. It was going to be a risk. We didn't want to lose out on Europa League. We also didn't want Chelsea to get on top of us. So, I think after the 3-0, he probably felt comfortable to bring them on. But I really am hoping to see more of them and what they can actually do, because I think we've got some real special talents in our youth squad. So, yeah, even more, it's going to be like new signings for us, I think, next season. So, yeah.
And I think that's the thing as well, because obviously hindsight's a beautiful thing. I was sitting here, we were 3-0 up, happy days. You want to see the young boys on. But Billy, is it kind of what Christina said? Do you think now that we've got that Europa League, Andrew's kind of holding out for the boys to play in that more so than risking them in like a last game of the season?
Yeah, I definitely think so, because we're going to be top seed in that as well. We're in the pot one, so we should get at least a couple of games where we're expected to win quite easily. So I think that'll be the chance we get to see some of them. Yeah, and I think, you just got to take your time with these things sometimes, don't you? Like, if we chuck Mikey Moore in the team already, he's only like 17, it could really set him back. Like, I don't know if you remember when Nuno played Dane Scarlett a couple of times when he first joined, played him in the Europa Conference, and he brought him up at half time both games, and I think that probably set him back, like, mentally. So I think you have to be really, really careful with that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think it's just for us as fans, when we see these players doing so well in the youth squad, and you're waiting for them to come on, and they're not coming on. But like Billy said, Ross, it's a good thing maybe that Ange hasn't chucked them straight into the deep end already this season. We've seen them have a couple of minutes. It's just you want to see more from them, don't you?
Oh yeah, that's it. I mean, that's just how we are as fans. We want to see those guys we haven't seen. We want to see what they can do. We want to see if they can show something, and it's just natural to see that. But, yeah, he got him in there. But yeah, Ange, has to manage the game. And yeah, it was a big game. We needed to secure some wins. And yeah, I would have liked to see them come on a little bit earlier, because yes, we do. And for a change, it seems like even since I've been following, it seems like we've gotten a lot better with our recruitment with young players. I mean, the young players coming up are great, the ones we have in the academy, and then we even bringing in Bergvall, bringing in the kid from the Swedish kid who looks like he could really be something. So, and that's nice to see, because that's your future right there. That's what's going to carry everything forward for you is the youth players. And if you don't have that, then you're having to go outside to find them. But if you can just have them right there, homegrown, as part of the club, it just makes it so much better.
And I think that's the thing. We've had players in the past that have come through our youth academy that have been excellent. It would just be nice, like I say, to see these players sediment themselves in the first team. But it will definitely come. And obviously, Christina, talking about new kind of players, I want to talk about Johnson, because, again, a bit like Decky this season, he's been a bit of hit and miss with the fans and divided a lot of people. But what have you made of Johnson this season and in that game against Sheffield?
I stand by this. I've said it so many times on last one on Spurs. I really think he's going to be huge. I think he's going to be a superstar for us. This season, he had 5 goals, and how many assists is it? Is it 7?
10, I think.
10 even. There you go. I mean, for a first season, your first Premier League season, I think that is tremendous. And for him, he was thrown in the deep end. Didn't even have pre-season with us. We literally got him, and then the next day we had like pretty much the Premier League started. It was a huge amount of pressure on him, and he's had a lot of criticism, a hell of a lot, and I'm pretty sure he's seen it, and it's probably mentally not good for him, of course. And I just feel like he's done a really good job this season. I think he's proved a lot for himself and to the fans themselves as well. So I think he's had a really, really good season for us, and I'm excited to see more that he can do. Yesterday was just a bit of a shame. I felt that he could have got some goals in there, but there's been previous games as well where I felt he's done some incredible assists that could have been it could have been goals, especially from Werner. He just couldn't get in. Get those goals in, but he's done some incredible assists, passes. So I really think he's going to be something for us at Tottenham. So I'm really happy with him, and of course, Ange wanted him, and I feel we've got to trust our manager at the same time. So yeah, I think we've got something special with Brenham.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I think with us sometimes as fans, we always put the ceiling so high right at the very start, when you've got to give these players time to develop. Because I think there was a stat as well that there's only 2 other players in the Prem that have got more assists than him, Billy. And that being said is a true testament to how much hard work he's put into his first season at Spurs.
Yeah, and I think unlike Kulusevski, he's a profile that Ange wants as a winger, and that's exactly what he wants him to do, which is why he's got 10 assists. Because he is like a system player for Ange. He's really good at beating his man and sort of just cutting it back. And that's what most of his assists did. A lot of them through Richarlison and that little spell of the season that they had together. And I think that's why Ange won, and I think that's why it works well, and I think it'll only get better next year. I thought also he's our he's our worst performing player in terms of converting XG. So I think his finishing will hopefully improve next year. And he'll get a few more goals as well. And I think if you had sort of 7-10 goals with 10 assists, there's not many better players more productive than that in the Premier League.
100%, and that's the same that we've had here as well. That Johnson needs to work on his finishing. But the thing is, Ross, you can't have the fully fledged article in your first season, can you? So it's definitely something that he can work on.
Oh, for sure. And that's the thing. I also don't get all the hate and everything that he gets. I mean, it's just really unfair to me. And somebody was saying the other day, oh, he's a waste of money. I'm like, really? A guy with that many assists, there's only a few players that have had more assists than him is a waste of money. Okay. Because everybody just, it's like, it's not all about goals, especially on the winger in Ange's system. Ange's system is get the ball down there, beat your man, get that ball inside for a finish. And then, if you're in position for a shot, you're in position to take a shot, do it. But that's, scoring goals isn't the primary, thing that you're going to be doing in his system. And I think he's done very well. I mean, he's really played well. He's had his moments in finishing, but again, you can improve that. And that's another system thing, and that's a lot of times, the Celtic fans told us of how this season was going to go. He said, you're going to have injuries. You're going to struggle. You're going to get battered. You're going to, do this, and that's just part of adapting to his system. So I mean, he's and I can understand if he had like only a few assists and no goals. Okay, maybe you can say, all right, well, maybe we shouldn't have bought this guy. But I mean, he's shown something, and that's all you want.
And the thing is, these players are young as well. I think that's what we sometimes forget. We've got such a young squad now, and we've got a few more players that we kind of need to get out the door. But it's nice to sit here and think we've got these young players coming through the squad under a brand new manager. It's just a nice place to be for once. But Christina, obviously, it was a great win. I think the only thing that made me giggle in the game was I think there was a bit of argy-bargy between Vicario and one of their players. And the one time Vicario pushes someone, he gets absolutely ridiculed for it, doesn't he?
I was actually quite glad to see that when it happened. That time, really. No, I'm joking. Oh God, Vicario, what a signing he has been. I mean, he could be close to be my favourite signing, but it would have to be Mickey. But definitely Vicario is up there. I mean, what a goalkeeper we have got. I mean, the fact that we were looking in for Raya, I mean, the difference now. And that's what shows like how much Tottenham has changed really now. I mean, the people that we're now signing for, I mean, although we had never have heard of Vicario and everyone was like, who the hell is this guy? Like, why have we signed this player? Why have we not signed Raya? I mean, that he just proved himself right there. So that's why I just think recruitment now has completely changed at Tottenham. And we are going up to that next level now. I mean, if you can't see the process from this season, I don't know where else, it doesn't happen overnight. And I keep saying that all the time with Tottenham fans, because I know we want something so desperate. But the fact that we want it, and we've seen how much Ange wants it as well, he is so hungry for success, which is why I feel he's just a perfect match for Tottenham. And I feel like even for next season, he's already looking forward to that. He's already pursuing like what to do next. He's already telling fans, next season's going to be better. So the players like Vicario, we're going to get more of them, I'm hoping. So young squad as well. We're looking at the future, which is just as important. So yeah, really, really high. Like we've got a lot of potential there, definitely.
And I think that's obviously the thing as well, because obviously we are impatient as fans. And I think we've got a right to be impatient just with what's happened in the last couple of seasons. But for you, Billy, do you feel we're finally on the right path with Ange?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. At the end of the season, it's been a bit frustrating for everyone. It's not as strong as we would have liked to him, but I think we were just a bit unlucky with having all of our worst fixtures at the end of the season. Traditionally, most difficult games, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, in a row. I think what you said at the beginning of this is that we lost Harry Kane this season. We haven't really felt the effect of it yet because we scored more goals, finished higher. So I think that alone is worth showing that he's a man to stick with. And I know he's had I wouldn't say detractors, but people have been questioning a bit more recently. But we have to stick with a manager at some point again. There's been so much change since Postecoglou left. We've had like 4 or 5 different managers in that time, in those 2-3 years that has been. And we've just got to try at least to emulate some kind of success by just sticking with a manager. He's done more than enough for me, and I love him still.
And I think that, like, obviously the other day when he was obviously coming out and saying about us being happy that City have beat us and things like that. I kind of felt like, actually, you know what? For once, Ross, maybe he's more of a fan than me, because I'm sat here thinking, hang on a minute, why am I cheering for the other team? But it is something as well that Ange is learning along the way of being this Tottenham manager, of that rivalries to us, almost like against Celtic and Rangers. It's within us, like it's we're so passionate about it. And Ange was also passionate about the fact that he wanted to lead this team to win.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's a manager. What's his job? His job is to get the team to win games. That's his job. That's what he needs to do. If he's not doing that, he's not doing his job. And he understands, right? I mean, Old Firm. The Old Firm is, that's one of the most famous derbies in the world. I mean, that's a really, really serious one. You get all kinds of factors involved in that. So he's been around it. He knows it. And I get his point, and I understand. And it's different. See, me being an American, it's a little different. The rivalry stuff here doesn't go as deep as it does over there. So now that I've been around it more, I get it. And but yeah, I mean, like I said, we got to stick with this guy, because I started following in Poch's last season is when I seriously started following Spurs. So I have not. This is the first time I've seen a manager last a full season. In the whole time I've been supporting Spurs. So that tells you right there, it's continuity. You just have to do it. I mean, as I point out sometimes, Arsenal, they were screaming for Arteta to be out. Screaming. Just, Troops is Arteta out blood, and doing his whole deal, and they wanted him out. And look where they are now. Again, I hate to talk well about them, but it's true.
No, and again, I think you're right, Ross. I know sometimes, obviously, when you're across the pond, you're not as much in it as like us over here. But it shows again that what the rivalry is like, and Ange is in that as well, and he'll learn what that rivalry is all about. But I think it's a true testament. And Ross, you joined as a Spurs fan right at the rough point, so credit to you. But Christina, obviously, just going a little bit away from Ange, I kind of want to talk about where you kind of expect us to kind of be next season. Is it, again, you want to finish a little bit higher, or do you want a trophy? Where do you kind of see this projection going?
Of course, I think all Spurs fans will agree and say they want a trophy, without a doubt. That was probably the most disappointing moment I thought with this season was our exit to the FA Cup. I really think with us not having any, European games, I felt like we were in a good position to focus on that. But sadly, didn't happen. So I would hope that Ange now knows, with all of this that's happened from this whole season, he knows how important it is for us. He knows how important it is for the fans. It's been a very long time since we've seen something like that come to us, our stadium as well. So I think because it's just been I feel like it's been dramatic this whole season with all the injuries that have come in, with all we've had a lot of big losses. They've not just been little, they've been quite big. And I just feel with everything that has happened with this season, it's just such a huge lesson. And just truly got a good understanding of what Tottenham is now. Even with the whole, the Man City situation, he knows just how important the whole rivalry is between us and Arsenal. I know it's easy for him to say, like, oh, we've got to have the mentality to, like, not focus on them and us. But at the end of the day, if we did that, that rivalry would not be as raw as it is to this day. It is the best rivalry, without a doubt, in the Premier League. So for next season, for me, I would hope for us to get a trophy. It's got to be. You've got to. And in a bonus, the next one would be to get into Champions League. But yeah, it's all a stepping stone, and it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight, like I've said. But if that trophy is for the FA Cup or even Europa, all the way, I'm there for it. So we'll just see how it all goes.
Like, and I'm exactly the same. I mean, what are you, Billie? Are you, again, a trophy? I'd love to get into the Champions League, but like we've kind of alluded to, I think it might have been a bit too much of a big step this season. Maybe next season, depending on how many fixtures we have, because there's going to be a lot of them. But I think a trophy is the thing we need to look for next season.
Well, listen, I've got good news because there's two birds with one stone. If you win the Europa, you get them anyway. So I want to just all of our energy into the Europa. I think we can win it. I think winning that will be much more significant than winning like the Carabao Cup. And it'll be the best day that I've had as a Tottenham. So I really want to win it. And I think that'll be a massive step for us. And it will also get Champions League football. So I actually think it's probably easier to win the Champions Europa League than finish above three Premier League. Finish below 3 Premier League teams and get fourth. So, yeah, let's just go all out for it, man, because we have not ever really asserted ourselves in that competition as much as we should. Hopefully, we're building this new mentality now. That's the way to start it, I think.
I like that as well. I like the fact you've killed two birds with one stone as well. There we go. Ross, we'll see if you can top that now. What do you want to finish off next season? Where do you want to be?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, Champions League is always nice to get that. Definitely a trophy if we can. It is. Obviously that's always at the top of the wish list. And Europa League, yeah, I do think we have a good chance at Europa League too. I mean, even with the new format, the new rules. Also, clubs aren't going to drop down from Champions League either. So that's good. And I think we got a good shot at that. And it's mainly that's what I think is depth. We need to address our depth situation in the summer, because that's what matters in those competitions is depth. If you look at your Liverpools and your Cities, I mean, they can put almost a whole different 11 out there for those cup competitions and rest their guys. And I mean, how many times have we figured in some of those cup games, oh yeah, we'll rest Kane, we'll rest Son, and then we have to bring them on in the second half because we're down a goal or whatever, and it just wears on them. And we see what the wear and tear of Ange's system does. I mean, just from this season. So that depth is important. But yeah, for me, that the same. Trophy, Champions League, and obviously winning Europa League would be great if we could do one of those things, or all of them, or some.
And it's great what you say, obviously, this depth. I mean, we've spoken about it a lot tonight, that we need some new recruits. But for you, Christina, say you go out there today, you can get one player. What position are you going after? Is it that striker position? Is it someone to fit into centre-back if the likes of Mickey van der Ven, bless him, his hamstrings go, God forbid. But who is it you'd want to bring in?
It's really difficult to say because I want a striker, but I actually find it really difficult to actually think of a good striker these days. I think it's really difficult. I know there's a lot of talk with Ivan Toney at the moment. Personally, for me, I would not want him at our club because I've seen what his attitude has been like, and I don't really feel it is suited for Tottenham, and also suited under Ange as well. I don't think he wants those sort of players at our club. It's a number 9. It's got to be number 9. And I know we've got Richie, but if the opportunity comes and he was to get an offer elsewhere, I personally feel like we should take it. It's such a shame because I do like Richie, and I love his attitude. I love how much he would have been perfect for against Arsenal. I think he should have been brought on because he's got that fire in him, which is exactly what we need for those sort of games, those big games. It's just a shame because I feel like it's just not really worked out as well as it should have been for him. It's really hard to put on a name with who I would replace, but I'm going to just say, like, we need to find a decent number 9. We've seen what it's like to have an amazing striker at your club, how much difference it makes with everybody else. We just really need to figure out who is good, whether that be a young player, someone who's well experienced. I don't know. But like with the talk of Ivan Toney, for me, I personally wouldn't take him. But yeah, we just need a striker, 100%.
Tony is definitely the name that's floating about, but I think I'm in the same boat. I don't fancy his attitude and the way that he spoke out about, obviously, the club he's already at the moment. Like, for me, that just doesn't sit right. But Billy, who's on your shopping list? Are you the same with Christina? Is it a number 9? Is it someone else?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. The market is difficult because Man United, Chelsea, and a couple of other big teams are looking for a striker as well. So the market's going to be really weird. I like the Sporting Lisbon guy, Requez. I think it'd be a bit of a gamble. I think another player that went with is Jimenez from Feyenoord. Not really massively confident about signing person in the Dutch league. It doesn't typically work out well in the Premier League. And that's the kind of thing. That's the only thing which would make me go towards Tony, is that he can do it in the Premier League, and he's pretty much always going to get you like 15 Premier goals a season, which is something that we need, really. So yeah, I would not be massively for Tony because of the the attitude reason which you guys mentioned, but I think he's as close to Premier League goal guarantee you can get. So, I mean, in an ideal one, I'd love to sign Ollie Watkins, but I just don't think that's the realistic plan.
Yeah,
or Isaac.
I'd love him.
I love Watkins or Isaac, but they're not going to happen, sadly.
No, and that's the sad truth. Like again, they kind of fit the profile of the Spurs, but those teams are never going to give them up.
We
But
should have signed Isaac when Newcastle did. Like that was obvious, an obvious signing.
That in true Spurs fashion, we didn't. But hopefully that's changing. Hopefully we're in this summer transfer window. We're going to find a gem like we did with Mickey van der Ven. As I think and Vicario, exactly. Hopefully we've got those gems in our locker. Ross, who's your gem going to be? Who do you want to get into the club?
Greg Georgis from Sporting looks really good, and then like I said, with him, Bergvall, and Kula, we'll have the Swedish House Mafia. I mean, you can't beat that. I'm part Swedish too, so I'm partial to that. Tony, yeah, the ability, but yeah, the attitude there, I don't know. I mean, I've just seen a lot. There's just a lot of stuff extra stuff that's going around with him that I don't really know. Like too much that I think could come back and we could regret that. I don't know. I mean, because Ange's system, I mean, it'd be great to have a really good star striker, but in Ange's system, I feel like you just need somebody that's just going to finish those chances. You don't necessarily need to have a star striker there. Just somebody that's solid, that's going to be in position and be able to put those way too. But more importantly for me, I think is a number 6. We need that defensive midfielder. That was really shown this year with this high back line and the struggles with our midfield. Those are poor center backs. Poor Mickey and Cootie are having a dead sprint back a lot of times because they're just not getting that help. You need to have that number 9 that's cutting out those passes, getting those stops, letting those guys set back up. And so I think that's almost equally as important as that we get in a good number 6.
That's a great shout. I think we've all picked holes in that midfield this season when we haven't had someone that's just standing there and blocking out those passes. So yeah, I would say equally that number 6 is just as important as someone to put the goals away. But it's going to be an interesting season next season. I'm already looking forward to it. As I say that, obviously this season's just finished, but we have got a long summer to hopefully find all the recruits we kind of need, and especially with the Euros as well. But I want to say a big thank you to everybody that tuned in. I want to say a massive thank you as well. I'm going to butcher your name, so I'm going to call you Rapdo Madness. There we go. For becoming a channel member, really appreciate it. So thank you very much. The last one of the season, and we'll go around the table and say our goodbyes and things. So Christina, thank you again for joining me tonight. Where can everybody find you?
I'm just on X/Twitter moaning and doing all sorts about bloody Tottenham. So yeah, I'm on there. But also, Hollie, congratulations to you, because I think you've also done an amazing job with your pods, and keep going, especially for women. You're truly like there. You're getting there, girl. And so I'm really proud of you for what you've done. And yeah, thank you so much for making me feel part of this show. So yeah, it always is good to be on here.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. Like I say, I'm only as good as my guests. So that's thanks to you guys that always come on every week throughout the season. So thank you, Christina. And also to Billy, thank you again tonight for joining us. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, just Billie T on Twitter, and just want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Emerson Royale for everything he's done in his illustrious career, and I'll be following him wherever he goes. So that's where you can find me.
Love that, Billy. And Ross as well. Thank you for joining us from across the pond. It's great to, like I say, to have someone that is an American, but also someone that has so much passion for Tottenham as well. So Ross, where can everybody find you? Oh.
You can find me at Spursy Night on Twitter. You can see it right there, just tweeting about Tottenham and other American sports and other general things. And yes, it's always an honor to come on. I mean, you were the first one to have me on a pod, and I'll never forget that. And I appreciate everything. And you're doing great things, and you're going to keep doing that.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Like I say, thank you to everybody that's tuned in this season, that's been a part of the channel. Obviously, Hotspur Huddle is on Wednesday, where me and Nelson and Wes will be doing our kind of end of season awards. We're going to throw a few funny ones in there. You already guessed it. Mickey van der Ven is winning Daddy Longlegs of the year. So tune in for that one. And there'll be some Euro content over the summer as well. So although we're shutting off for a little while, we will be back. But like I say, thank you to everybody for coming on, watching, tuning in, liking, subscribing, all the good stuff. And until next time, come on, you Spurs.